Hey, good evening. Good evening, everybody. So my name is Marie de Bonny. I am in charge with Minhua Yang of the ParisTech office of Asia. So we live in Shanghai. So dear participants and dear speakers, good evening for people in China, of course, and good afternoon for people in France. Thank you all for connecting today. This is for this online event that ParisTech is doing about the ParisTech CSC PhD program. I will go through the webinar agenda. So we will have two different parts, one all together in this common room and one separated in different rooms. So first of all, we will introduce ParisTech, and then we will introduce the ParisTech CSC PhD program. And then we will have a Q&A session with the participant and guests. Concerning the program, we will introduce research in each of ParisTech school, and then we will begin the second part in different rooms, separated by themes. So you can ask all the questions you have more specifically about the research and about the PhD proposal that we have this year. So this is the list of webinar guests. You can see that today we have a lot of guests attending our webinar. So please do not hesitate to, throughout the whole webinar, to ask any question you may have about one specific school or about research or about PhD proposals or about anything you want. And you can do so through the chat. If you have any question, you can write it in the chat, or you can ask for speaking, of course. If you can change your name, so we'll have your full name, and you can also add your Chinese university or which university elsewhere you come from. So this way it will be much more easier for our guests to answer any of the questions you may have. Okay, so I should tell that this presentation will be sent to everyone who is participating today to the webinar. So you shouldn't worry about taking notes or anything. You will have all the information at the end of the webinar. So it will be sent to you. So I will start by introducing ParisTech. So ParisTech is a consortium of prestigious graduate engineering schools in France. The visions of ParisTech, that's to be the primary network of graduate schools in the fields of engineering, science, and technology, both in France and worldwide, with the main missions that's to train leaders that can break down scientific and technological barriers to tackle major challenges. The core values are excellence, openness as a level growth, innovation, and solidarity. So as you can see here, the ParisTech is an alliance of 7 grandes écoles in engineering and science. So some of the schools are part of PSL, such as Chimie ParisTech PSL, ESPCI, and Mines Paris PSL. Agro ParisTech and Institut d'Optique are part of Paris-Saclay University. Arts et Métiers here is part of ESSAM University, and École des Ponts is a Paris East University. So the 7 schools laboratories are located all around France and not only in Paris. So you can see here the map. So we have laboratories all over France. Key numbers. So how many are we at ParisTech? So ParisTech, all 7 schools totally count 12,500 students. 1,700 PhD candidates, 1,500 professors, and more than 100 partner companies, and close to 70 international agreements, and around 90,000 alumni worldwide. How old are we? You can see on this slide that ParisTech schools are rooted in the French history. France has probably the oldest engineering tradition in Europe. The oldest school was created by Louis XV in 1747, and the most recent school was founded in 1917. All these schools left a mark in history. So ParisTech counts many Nobel Prizes, and you can see here a few famous alumni from the ParisTech schools that left a mark in history. And so some of them you probably know, such as Paul Langevin, for example. So I will probably not read for each of them because we might not have enough time otherwise. The permanent connection with the companies. So keep in mind maybe two major features. I would say the two major features of ParisTech. The first one is international openness, and the second one is the permanent connections with companies. ParisTech schools have strong permanent connection with companies, with including multinational companies. Here you will see some of them. So it's all very big names. And again, probably you know most of the companies that are mentioned here. And ParisTech schools also provide the good environment for their students' creativity and for innovation. As you can see, a lot of successful startups were funded by either students or from research at the schools. So that's some of the successful ones are listed here. Sorry. So why choose France? Let's speak maybe about France. So you choose studying and living in France for 4 main reasons. First, for the industry and the economic attractivity. France is the 6th economic country worldwide. International companies are based in France. The second is for the reputation of its research and scientific leadership in mathematics, chemistry, and also for the famous research organization. The third one is for the cultural life. France is the third one is for the excellence of the higher education system. And of course, you choose France for the cultural life. France is a country, as you know, of lifestyle, arts, heritage, and food. It's also the country of values, commitments to sustainable development, ecological transition, and also in France for the language. French is the 5th most spoken language worldwide, considering the number of people, and French is also the official language of 32 states. Okay, so I will go on to more specifically introducing the ParisTech CSC PhD program that the webinar of today is about. So first, we will specify what the applicant's profile should be. So there are a few prerequisites to apply to this program. So first of all, the first one is you have to be citizens of the People's Republic of China at the time of application. The applicants should not hold a foreign permanent residence permit, and applicants should be at least 18 years old at the time of the application. For the study, you are maybe studying in China, so this is possible at the final year of master degree or in the first PhD year, or maybe you are studying in France now or in one of the 41 partner countries of the CSC. So you can also apply for the PhD program. If you are working now, that's also a possibility for applying, but you have to be a master holder and you work in a company that agrees with your PhD project. Sorry. So prerequisites, excellence for highly selective competition. So you should have excellent academic records, especially in the relevant discipline of the PhD you want to pursue. You should have good command of written and spoken English. All the application is in English anyway, and the interview will be in English too. You should have a coherent personal and professional plan, and you are willing to learn minimal French for basic communication. So about the funding scheme for the CSC scholarship. Yes, just want to maybe add something for the French language. So the speaking French is not a prerequisite for applying to this program, but it's better once admitted to at least start studying a bit of French to be more comfortable to live in France. And there are a few tips when you apply. Of course, the most important is to learn as much as you can about the labs and the PhD advisors, about their past and their present work, and after that to carefully select PhD proposals that are relevant with your personal profile, and then build a coherent and clear professional plan with all the information you have gathered. Sorry, about the CSC scholarship funding scheme. So for this program is 1,350 euro per month. So it's around 10,000 RMB for the duration specified on your admission letter. So it's usually 3 to 4 years plus a one-time round-trip international travel expenses provided by the CSC. So as I said, the duration can be 3 to 4 years for a full PhD or 6 to 24 months for course-supervised PhD. And then that's a condition of the CSC. You should be committed to go back to China at the end of the PhD. There are exceptions to this condition, and you can find them on the CSC website. About the calendar and steps. Where to find relevant information? So you can find all relevant information on ParisTech website. So you just have to go on the website and you pick International China and ParisTech CSC PhD program, and you will find all the information, all the PhD proposals, and you can also find a laboratory directory on ParisTech website to learn more about the labs. About our campaign of we are talking now, so the 2020-2023 campaigns. So we have six schools participating this year, and we have 19 PhD proposals online in 11 fields of engineering. So you can check them or download them on this link here, where to get relevant information. And for starting your admission procedure, you will have all the information also. You can also find relevant information on all the social media accounts. So you either the global accounts or the Chinese accounts. You see we have a lot of accounts in China, so you can pick the one you are most comfortable with, and you will find all the information about the ParisTech program on the social media. So for the admission process, so for the agenda, the first step is the publication of the PhD proposal. So it's already done. you can already find the PhD proposals on the website. And then until December 11, 20, at the time of almost midnight, but 23:59 Paris time, you can apply. So this is the limit of you have to do it before the 11th of December. So this is the application time now. You should provide all your application files before the deadline. That's very important. On December 23, once we have received all the application, we will select the candidates that will be invited to an interview. And the interview will be conducted from January 9 to January 20 of 2023, sorry. These interviews are with the ParisTech team. And then late January to late February, you will have more interview with the PhD supervisors. And if necessary, if you haven't contacted them already, then you have to, of course, contact them to discuss with them. That's very important. So you can also start to contact them during the application and all around the admission process. Then you will receive an admission, conditional admission letter before the end of February, if you're accepted, of course. And last thing to do is the application. You will have to apply for the scholarship to the CSC on the CSC website. And the results of the CSC application should be done in March, before the end of March, and you will have the results around end of May or beginning of June. Okay, how will your application be evaluated? So first, in your application file, the first thing that we will evaluate if it's complete or not. Then we will check the excellence of your academic transcripts. So don't forget to add all your academic transcripts, all the ranking that you can have, all the GPA, of course. We will check your personal ranking, the ranking of your university at both international and national level. And we will check the referrals you send us during the interview with ParisTech. What we will evaluate is during the interview is your capacity to communicate in English or in French, if you speak French, of course, and then your capacity to present and explain clearly your personal and your professional projects. And during the interview with the potential PhD supervisors, then what will be evaluated is the relevance of your profile with the lab's requirements and the proposal and the thesis, and your scientific level in relevant fields. About the tuition fees in France, first of all, I should say that the PhD training program total cost in France is about 100,000 to 150,000 euro per year. So it's around 700,000 to 900,000 RMB per year. But for PhD candidates and with this program, they are only asked for tuition fees. So you will only be asked for tuition fees to pay. So the amount is here. So the tuition fees are around 400 euros plus the CVC. So here's the definition. So you will have, of course, a PPT. For the results, so as I said, the results will be announced by the end of May, beginning of June, each year by the CSC. Each year, there's over 100 candidates that apply to this program, and about half of them will get a proposal from a ParisTech school lab. In 2020, 33 scholarships were granted by the CSC. And last year, it was 29 scholarships granted by the CSC. The CSC, they also have their own criteria for picking the students to give a scholarship. So once the CSC announced the results, the successful applicants will receive the official admission letter and be informed by the CSC about the administrative procedures to follow before going to France. And once all administrative procedures over and the candidates have their visa, then they will be expected to arrive in France in September or October 2023. About studying at ParisTech, so that's a few information about studying in one of our school, in one of the laboratory of our school, about the cost of living and the help you will get. So usually you will get help to find accommodation, and there is possibility of accommodation allowance given by the French government. The average living cost in Paris is around 800 euro per month. So it's around a little bit under 6,000 RMB. So as you can see, that's covered by the CSC scholarship. And then, of course, you will get assistance with the visa procedure through the ParisTech China office, so through Minhua and I. Okay, so is there any questions about the procedure, about ParisTech, about the program before continue with the research in ParisTech school? Is there any question? If you have any questions, you can write in the chat. We will try to answer directly in the chat, or I can answer now if you want to speak with me directly. Okay, so let's move to the third part. So the research in ParisTech higher education institution, so in ParisTech school. Okay, so first I will just introduce.
There seems to be a question in the chat. Excuse me.
Sorry. If I have the question, if I have identified the supervisor in ParisTech, how should I do to get the admission letter from the ParisTech CSC program? So first of all, even if you have already identified the supervisor, you have to apply, and then you will have to have the interview, and after that, then you will have the pre-admission letter. So the first thing you have to do is to apply for sure. And you will mention the supervisor that you have identified. I hope it's clear. Do I need a passport when applying? No, but you will need one after, of course, to get your visa and to come in France. But for applying, no, you don't need. Second question about the. Can I be help and get because it's gonna be cool. Yes, so you can. So this webinar will help you maybe, and you can also. Yes, thank you, Florence. You can also ask us during the interview. And during the second part of this webinar, you can also move to the rooms and ask questions about the proposals we have. And you can also send us an email. We can also arrange a call with you to talk about your project and your personal interest. When you apply, you don't have to choose a proposal. You don't have to identify a proposal. You can just identify a school or laboratory or domains, teams that you are interested in. Okay, so we need to move on the next part of the webinar, which will be the introduction of schools research. So first, the excellence in research. So the schools, ParisTech, have a long tradition of scientific excellence. As I told you at the beginning of this webinar, you can see here a few Nobel Prizes, World Prizes that the schools had over the past century. And some of them you probably are very famous, so you probably know. The excellence can also be seen in the rankings, the worldwide rankings with the Shanghai ranking, or with the QS ranking, or the PhD ranking. So to better understand the rankings here, I just want to give you the precision again. So Agro-ParisTech and Institut d'Optique are part of Paris-Saclay University. Chimie Paris PSL, ESPCI Paris, and Mines Paris PSL belong to PSL University. École des Ponts and Arts et Métiers are ranking on their own. So you can see here that PSL or Saclay University or some of the schools here are top ranking worldwide in those rankings. So I will not read the whole slide maybe, because it would be a bit too long, but you can see here the data. The ParisTech schools and their labs have partnered up. Oh, sorry. So the partners are also national research institutes, such as the CEA, CEA, CNRS, or INRAE, etc. So a lot of national research institutes work with the ParisTech schools laboratories. So the research for this program. So this year for this program, we have 11 research domains for the 2020 to 2023 program, growing from chemistry to information and communication, life science, energy, material science, physics, optics. So it pretty much covers all the fields of science and technology. If you want to learn more about the school labs, because that's part of the work you should do before contacting the advisors and during your application time, you can go on this page and there is a lab directory. You just scan the peer and you can check it. Okay, so we'll start for the school research presentation by Chimie ParisTech PSL. Ilaria.
So thank you. Thank you very much. Probably you have the slide, or should I pass mine actually? Okay, good. So I'm Ilaria Ciofini. I'm the director for research at Chimie ParisTech. And as the name probably suggests you, Chimie ParisTech is a school which is mostly devoted to chemistry. And this does not mean that you are just doing chemistry. You will see with the 19 PhD proposal that we did. There are also cross-domain that I will explain you later on. So this year, there are 19 subjects that have been proposed in 3 main research domains that are chemistry, energy, and material science. And these 19 PhD proposals have been are the subject of the researcher of the 2 of our laboratories that are the ICLES Institute and the IRCP Institute. So both these laboratories have a partnership with CNRS. So they contain a researcher also from CNRS. So let's go ahead. So if you can go to the next slide, thanks. So just to give you an idea of what these laboratories are doing, and next I will explain how much we are. So the laboratories are mainly related to different topics in chemistry. ICLES is the Institute of Chemistry for Health, Life and Health Sciences. So it's laboratories, which is composed by 4 research teams, and actually is mainly concerned of application development and also fundamental development in chemistry to help and at the border with life science and health sciences. So these 4 teams are doing complementary research activities. There is a team which is completely devoted to theoretical chemistry. So this means development and application of methods to, for instance, describe reactivity and properties of system, both for health and life sciences, but also more generally for material science. And there is a team which is devoted to physical chemistry. So whatever is analytical science, and more generally physical science, physical chemistry, to describe essentially and to apply essentially in health sciences. And then there are 2 teams which are more related to synthetic chemistry, and also to medicinal chemistry. So from these laboratories, you will have quite large variety of topics, and you can really contact also the PhD responsible to get more insight. But this first laboratory is more related to, let's say, life science and chemistry. There is a 3rd laboratory that is IPVF, which I will not present you because there are no topics that have been deposited from these laboratories. But if you are interested in photovoltaics and you have identified somebody from IPVF, you can really contact it and eventually ask for the deposit of a project. And then there is another laboratory, which is the Institut de Recherche de Chimie Paris. So it's an institute which is mainly devoted to research in chemistry for material science, energy production, and storage. So this year, from this institute, you have many topics on material science that are also related to metallurgy, to actually energy production, and also many topics that are related to material, either material characterization, surface and bulk, or actually material production, like polymers production for different applications. So these are the main topics of these laboratories, which is composed by 8 research groups, and it's actually a very large laboratory. So do not hesitate to look in the website of each of the teams, just to have a better knowledge of the research topics of these teams. If you can go next. So just a few questions, just a small overview of where we are. We are really in Paris city center, close to the Pantheon and also to other schools of ParisTech. And we are in an historical building, but of course we have all the research infrastructure needed, from common research infrastructure like mass NMR, HPC facilities, to actually research development in equipment like in characterization, spectroscopy, microscopy, and optics, and of course many labs for either wet chemistry or more advanced like flow chemistry. And I have to mention that the ERCP, so one of our laboratories, is also partner of le Centre de Recherche et de Restauration du Musée de France. Donc, it's a part of, it's very, let's say, linked to the research in material science for, let's say, whatever concern cultural heritage. And for this, we are also part of a laboratory which is under the Louvre, actually devoted to the study of, let's say, ceramics, paintings, and all manufacturers stemming from museum. So if you are interested in materials and methods for cultural heritage, this is the laboratory you can contact. If we go next, I would like to finish with some numbers about CSC PhD. Next slide. In total, we are a small institute because we are in total 340 researchers and teaching researchers. but we have a good volume of fundamental research. This is the reason why our publication per year are quite high. And we have a quite large number of PhD students, mostly founded also on partnership with industrial partner, and 50% of our students are international, so you will not feel alone coming to France as an international student. And I've also mentioned in this slide, you will have the slides, our main partner concerning industrial partner. You can see that some are big groups, some are small, much smaller groups. It means that we are doing also innovation in our building. And so if you are interested in application, not just in fundamental science, in chemistry, probably you can find a good environment coming to CSC Paris. So my main suggestion is that if you want to study in chemistry, and you've, I would say chemistry and its border to physics and biology, please do not hesitate to contact people that have deposited a project, or if you're not sure about it, of course you can contact Marie, Florence, and all the teams at ParisTech, but you can also direct contact me. You will have my let's say contact in order that I can probably put you in contact with referent of the school. So that was all I wanted to say to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ilaria, for this nice presentation of Chimie ParisTech PSL. So now we will continue with the research at Arts et Métiers, Institute of Technology. Ali, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Okay.
I'm sorry I'm a little late. It's a pleasure. Welcome to all the students here, and it's my pleasure to present a brief research activity of our school. I'm Ali Siadat, professor in industrial engineering and director of one of the labs of our school, and also in charge of the exchange with Asia for the international relationship with for our school. So next slide, please. Marie, is you change the slide, or I don't know.
If you want, you prefer that you share your screen, as you prefer, or you just tell me. I can move on. Ali, I cannot hear you. I think you are on mute now.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yes.
The second slide, please, Marie. Okay, donc for this slide, so I will present a brief of the research and innovation direction of our school. Next slide, please, Marie. Yeah. So some key figure of our school. So in the next slide, I show you. So we are with campuses and 3 institutes in France, so 11 sites, with around less than 300 PhD students actually in our doctoral school. They work in 15 laboratories. So for also one of the important things in research, we have a lot of relationship with the industrial and the company. So a more important part of our research funding coming directly from the company. So you have here about 15 million euro per year. Next slide, please. So our strategy of the industrial fit with the research department is divided in first, the main objective is the future of the manufacturing. So working in Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0, and organized in 5 sectors: mobility, energy, health technology, construction, and manufacturing. So in the second part of this this meeting, you can have each laboratory present working in this, for example, more laboratory working more than in manufacturing and mobility fields. Next, please, Mary. And in terms of research organization, our objective is to manage life cycle of a product or production system, starting with the design and innovation, industrialization process. One of the characteristics of our school is with a lot of platform and manufacturing facilities, going to using this system in maintenance and durability, and also since several years, working in recycling of the product. And also, so we work actually to switch between Industry 4.0 to Industry 5.0, with including environmental and human aspect factor in our research topics. Next, please. So if we focus in this organization, we organize in 3 task force. The first is life cycle of digitalization. As you know, is one of the more important part of Industry 4.0, going from data, as you have the measurement, collection, tracement, and so on, related more than to computer engineering. After we can stay to, sorry, yeah, it's good.
Sorry for that. Sorry.
No, it's good. The second is one of the originality of the school to match this model of digitalization with the physical model. And after coming with the human-machine interface, like virtual reality or augmented reality, to improve this match between the physical model and the digital model. As you say, we the digital twin for like the management can become the objective of this first task force. Next, please, Mary. So in the second, we're going more than to manufacturing system, smart material structure and system. So the 2 big part is the mechanical engineering and material engineering. And we have also system engineering going to robotics, cobotics, and create the manufacturing system in this way. And also the smart process control that allows us to control our system during use. Next. And the third is the new one, as I said, is about the eco-engineering and carbon impact of management. 2 is, you know, is very important now in the world to calculate the impact of environment and also human part, because durability is also the human part of our proposal in Industry 4.0 and development of the manufacturing system or supply chain. How is the impact of carbon on economic, on ecologic at environment, and also human impact of our research. Next, please, for finish. So here you have the 19 different domains of research in our school, and we propose about 51, I think, if I remember well, this PhD subject for this this year. And each subject you can find related to 1 or 2 of these different domains, going from computer engineering, industrial engineering, electrical engineering, until to material analysis or mechanical engineering. So you can find more detail about it in the second part of this meeting. Each laboratory presents more detail each about this domain. I don't know. Yeah, just what maybe the last slide. I think I have no time. I see Marit saying I think is I finished my time. Just for CU is the ParisTech, but all our laboratories is not in Paris. You have the 8 campuses and 3 institutes. So be careful when you apply for each subject. It's which laboratory, and you can find in this slide, each laboratory you can find in this which city. I'm from city of Metz. It's very beautiful city if you come, but it's not in Paris. But our main campuses is in Paris, and a lot of activity of our research is in Paris. Okay, thank you very much. And here you have the list of the name of laboratory, which each campuses you can find this laboratory. So you can match this slide with the description of the PhD. I can stop here. Here, while you have three after. I think we shared the slide with with the student and the participant of this meeting. You have the slide related to three strategic partners we have with AM Texas in USA, with Karlsruhe Institute of Technology in Germany, and a new project we start with Singapore. That to say we work with in international in ORS. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ali.
Thank you.
You still have 2 minutes, so if you want to, but if you
prefer... I can. I think I already finished. Usually I speak more than the time I have. You know me very well, but this time I was faster. Okay. For these three a structure relationship between USA, Germany, and Singapore. We have the first one, it's with Texas AM in USA. So the work is related more than in manufacturing and material science. And the idea is create a campuses of the Texas AM in our campus in Aix-en-Provence, using that we have 3-4 professors coming from Texas AM here. And we have a mixed laboratory between this university and our school, working to two area, advanced manufacturing and material science. Two of the projects we propose in this frame of this collaboration with Texas. And you have a link with the website if you want. We can go to the next slide.
Yes, and you just have one question in the chat, Ali.
Yeah.
Just for you, is ecological and sustainable part in Paris for Arts et Métiers?
Yeah, it's in Arts et Métiers, but it's not in Paris. It's in the campus of Bordeaux and campus of Chambéry. So we have in 2 campuses this research topic. Okay, next slide. Yeah, the relation between the Institute of Karlsruhe Institute of Technology in Germany. So this part is in my laboratory that we manage it from campus of Metz. And the work with this university in Germany is related to 4 research axes: advanced manufacturing process, production system, virtual and augmented reality, and robotics. The idea is the same for AM Texas. In research collaborative, joint PhD doctoral, one of the PhD we propose is linked with this institute. And also we propose the exchange with this university for some thesis. One of the CSC PhD used this possibility to going 6 months to Germany, to KIT, to do a part of his PhD in this framework. Next slide.
Sorry, Ali, another question. Is it possible to do research in Paris with travels to Champagne and Bordeaux then?
Stay in Paris and going, no. If you work in the laboratory, you should stay in this city. So, but between Bordeaux and Paris, with a high-speed train, you have 2 hours 30 to going from Bordeaux to Paris. So it's possible. But if you take a PhD subject in the campus, the objective is to stay this way. If you want really a stay to Paris, I don't know, for this year we propose, you should check, you can send me an email and I can check. We have a small activity about recycling of the polymer in Paris, one of the laboratory, but I don't know if the colleague proposed this year or not. We have actually a CSC PhD student in this field in Paris, but I don't know if my colleagues proposed this year or not. I should check, but it is possible, but it's just a small activity, but a big activity is in Bordeaux. Very nice city also. Personally, I prefer to live to Bordeaux than to Paris. Sorry for my colleague coming from Paris. I finished with this project that just started with Singapore. It's a project to using the intelligent model for decision making in the critical urban system. As you know, maybe better than me, Singapore and the urban problem in Singapore and organization. So it's a very big project with the government of Singapore, managed by our school and Research National Center in France, to working with intelligent computing, engineering of the builder, and the empower people in smart factory to merge it and create the model we have in digital twin using for the material and mechanic, applied it for the urban system is very important because the domain is very different, but we find that some model we can use. So we started this project. Is a very big project, more than 35 million euro from September, so from 2 months. Okay, I finish here. Thank you very much. And you have the different area of this project in this slide. Okay, I stop here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ali. Okay.
Si on peut, parce que du coup, campagne mécénat, que ce soit métier ou fondation, ça, du coup, ça peut être de l'autofinancement par rapport à l'école, je pense. Et du coup, dans les appels à projets, souvent, on peut faire un effet de levier, mais il faut quand même.
Jean-Philippe, your microphone is open.
Yes.
Des projets de région ou aglo ou autre.
Alors, il faut que je...
Sorry.
Okay, is my colleague from Aix-en-Provence. Thank you, Marie. I'm here, but you know,
yes.
I cut and on switch. I changed the building, and I will with you at 1:30 p.m.
Yes, yes. See
okay,
you in the rooms. Thank you, Ali.
Okay. Thank you.
So we'll move on the next presentation, which is the introduction of research at Mines ParisTech. Mines Paris PSL. Sorry, Alexandra.
Yes.
Yes, the floor is yours now.
Okay. So I'm going to try to give you a small insight of the research at Mines Paris PSL. I think I should actually start to say that unfortunately we have very few subjects, very few projects offered in the CSC PhD program scheme. Because many of our labs are actually research center with security restrictions, and as I saw already in the chat, we cannot actually propose some project in this kind of labs in this context. I think this is not my. This might not be okay. Thank you. So Mines Paris was founded in 1783 to train engineers, and it's now a graduate school in science, engineering, and economics. We are actually a founding member of ParisTech, and we are now part of the PSL university, which is the Paris Sciences Célestes University, which is situated in the heart of Paris. But we actually have different sites in Paris area and also nearby Nice, in the south of France. We actually founded and were a prime member of the Institut Carnot Mines, and we're part of the EMT, Institut Mines Telecom also. So as I said, we are actually in several sites. Some are in the Paris area. Four sites are in the Paris area, and we have a fifth site in Sophia Antipolis, nearby Nice, in the south of France. There are about 240 professors in Mines Paris and 1,000 students, and we also host about 400 PhD candidates in our research center. The research in Mines Paris PSL is organized in 17 research centers and 2 institutes which are actually organized in 5 departments. And I'll go through the 5 departments in the next slide. More than 50, one of the particularity of the PhD program at Mines Paris, and also at particularity of the research, it's that there's lots of relation with the industry world. And as a consequence, about 50% of our PhD candidate graduates actually decide to work in the industry after they graduated for their PhD. In 2022, we launched, this year we launched a new institute, the Transition Institute 1.5, which is a pluridisciplinary institute that is looking at low carbon transition. And this institute is actually transverse to the entire research center in Mines. Can we go next? So as I said, the research is actually organized in 5 domains: energy and process engineering, health science and environment, mathematics and complex systems, materials and mechanics, and economy, management and society. And all our research lab, I won't go through the list because it's going to be a little bit long, but you can see all our 17 labs are actually affiliated to one of these 5 domains, research domain at Mines Paris PSL. Can we go next? Recent award from our institution, we almost get 1 European Research Council grants per year. The last one is the one actually managed by ELIHM from the CMF that is situated in Sophia Antipolis. Pierre Bouchon had the New York European Research Council grant, advanced grant in 2020, and Zaki Lektas had the New York starting grant in 2019. And also Tatiana Biktova got the silver medal from the CNRS in the 2020. Key facts from our institution, from Mines. As I said earlier, we have about 400 PhD students actually preparing their PhD in our labs, which means that we have about 100 new PhD students each year and about 100 PhD awarded annually. Among those PhD awarded, we have about 20% of women, 30% of international students coming from various nationalities. About 50 nationalities are represented within our PhD students. And about half of our students, PhD students, come from an engineering degree. We have about 232, 240 teaching researchers. And about 15% of them are actually recruited abroad. The scientific production is above 400 scientific publications in rank 8 publication per year. We actually have more than 300 patents and software per year. The number is for 219, but it's about the average that is done in Mines. 2 Nobel Prizes, as already mentioned, Maurice Allais in economics and George Charpak in physics. And as already mentioned, 3 European Research Council grants for the past 4 years. We have many prestigious partnerships with academics and laboratories companies. 20% of research contracts are completed with international partners. And we have partnership with MIT, Caltech, the CERN, Stanford, and so on. We have more than 25 industrial chairs and 200 industrial partners. As I said, the research at Mines Paris is actually very well connected to the industry. And Mines Paris ranks #1 in France for the volume of contractual research with companies. And you have an insight of the companies we collaborate with on the slide. Can we go next? And that's it.
Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
As there is still a question about that in the chat, I just want to say again that all the participants will receive an email before the end of the week with the presentation, with all the slides that we present today, and with the link to see the video again. So don't worry. Thank you, Alexandra.
You're welcome.
So we'll move to the introduction of research in Institut d'Optique Graduate School. Denis,
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yes, you are here.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you can, next slide, please. So Institut d'Optique has one institute, but 3 locations. One close to Paris, one in Bordeaux, and one in Saint-Étienne. In fact, the PhD proposals are all in the Bordeaux location, but I will discuss about all the 3 in the next. Next, please. So what is the research at Institut d'Optique? So as his name is all about optics, but more generally in physics and or science where there's some light. So it could be biophysics. For instance, Laurent Cognier is a world leader in biophysics and is in Bordeaux. It could be the use of nanomaterials. This is, for instance, what is the work of Jean-Jacques Greffet. And also in the quantum physics, either with light, like the research of quantum cryptography made by Philippe Grangier, or in optics and in atoms, quantum optics by Alain Aspect. So there are several startups that come from the research in the labs. Muquance now it has been bought by another company, so it's X-Blue company is the first company making gravimeter using atomic interference. Pascal is a startup on quantum calculation. And Stereolabs is more on the 3D video, movie, etc. And Dame Medical is a biomedical company to look for cancer. Next, please. And so we are happy this year that Alain Aspect received the Nobel Prize in physics. So for the experiment on quantum physics on entanglement. So this experiment was made at Institut d'Optique in 1980, so a long time ago. But still, Alain Aspect is still active in the lab, and I have some recent papers with him personally on not on quantum optics with light, but quantum optics with atoms. Next. So I put in first the laboratory. So in each location, there is a laboratory. So the laboratory in Bordeaux is called the LP2N, Photonics, Numerical, and Nanoscience Laboratory. So you have it on the numbers of persons and the fields. Among all the fields, the proposal, PhD proposal, are on 2 groups, the nanophotonics groups and the cold atoms groups. So as you see, there is also the biophysics is also present in this context. Next, please. So the other groups where I am is also on other fields, but connection, because the quantum gas, quantum optics groups are also nanophotonics groups, and biophysics groups are also some partners at Bordeaux. But we also have a group dedicated to laser, to produce laser at some fancy wavelengths, and also on imaging analysis and XUV optics for astronomers. Next. And the last lab is in Saint-Étienne. So once again, we have physics and optical related research on laser matter interactions, imaging, the search for new materials, and also nanofabrication. And I think that's all, if I remember well. Yes. So just a few words. So Institut d'Optique is a small institution compared to my previous partners, previous schools. But the research is very active. We have some links with the industry, but we are more focused on basic research. Not all the groups, but most of the groups. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Denis. Thank you for this presentation. And now the research at École des Ponts, ParisTech.
Okay, so thank you. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Marie. Good evening, everybody. So I will take several minutes to present the research at École des Ponts, ParisTech. Just for your information, École des Ponts, ParisTech is located in the east of Paris, just 15 minutes by metro from the very center of Paris. Next, please. Yeah, the research at École des Ponts, ParisTech covers different domains like industry of the future, city and mobility systems, management of risks, resources and milieux, and also economy, practice, and society. In each domain, there are 3 laboratories. For example, industry of the future, you have Navier laboratory dealing with eco materials, digital manufacturing, innovative structures, and geomechanics, of course, geotechnics I'm working on. And also ceramics, so dealing with the modeling of uncertainty, digital simulation, system optimization, and LIGM, data processing, 3D vision, and big data. For the city and mobility system, you have LVMT, so for sustainable mobility, territorial dynamics, and also LESU, handling urban waters, alternative resources, and you have also SERIA for atmospheric environment, air quality, and renewable energy, so to the large extent. For the management of risk, resources, and milieu, you have first the HMGO, dealing with hydrometeorological risks within the cities, and also MMD, physics of atmosphere climate, and also LHSV, renewable energy, but just for the hydraulic energy, mainly, and also the natural risks related to the hydraulic energy exploration. And finally, the economic practice and the society have LAS, so dealing with cities of future, infrastructures, policies, also PGSE, public policies, environmental economy, markets, and governance. And finally, CRED for sustainable development and climate change. Next, please. Yeah, just very quickly, some infrastructures for the research. On the top left, you have a wave roof covered by a green cover. So yeah, with just grass and also specialized, also some material, very, very light to form the green roof. You have at the same time the monitoring of the atmospheric condition using a high resolution X-band radar, together with a platform, namely Daranis, so which can investigate the physics of rain drops. So altogether, just to investigate the possibility to have a blue-green wave roof. You have also some a platform using the 3D printing. So the main purpose of this platform is to investigate the different printable cement-based materials. And at the bottom on the right, you have a platform for the hydraulic behavior study is done in collaboration with the French electricity company, EDF. Next, please, Mary. Yeah, that's some key figures for the research at École des Ponts ParisTech. More or less, we have 465 researchers and teachers. I have to mention that most researchers are from the company, so yeah, collaboration with the École des Ponts ParisTech. We have more than 500 PhD or postdoc students, including more or less 50%, so the half from the international countries. And we have also almost 1,000 from public publications. So this is a number in 2020. So probably it's a little bit more in last year. So I have to stress on the number 47%. So in collaboration with other colleagues from other countries. So we have $10 million contracts with companies. And so most research has been sponsored by the industry. So more than 50%. So some you can find on this slide some companies with which we have been collaborating since a long time. So some other numbers like 3 European Research Council projects, a British one, and a lot of PhD prizes, and also important to mention, one for women in science, L'Oréal, UNESCO, Young Researcher, and also many others. So yeah, so thank you very much. I have finished.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And last but not least, for the ESPCI Paris PSL, Joshua, I think you are here too.
So yes, thanks for the introduction and the organization, Marie, and hello everyone in France and in China. So I'll introduce myself very briefly. I'm Joshua Magara. I'm actually not directly involved with the organization of the CSC program at ESPCI, but neither Xiaoping Jia or Constantino Creton, professor at the school and director of research at the school, could be here today. So they asked me to fill in. So this is where I'm going to the next slide. Thank you very much. ESPCI is a school that is focused on, as it said in the name, physical chemistry and industry. At least this was its founding mission. Over the decades, it has become both a school of industrial problems. It's very linked to many industrial partners, but it's also got a quite strong focus on fundamental research. It's a school also in the center of Paris, like many in the ParisTech perimeter. And as a part of the Paris Sciences et Lettres consortium of schools that make up the university. And so within the context of the CSC program, we have 16 PhD proposals that cover mainly the physical aspects of physical chemistry, but there is, of course, still quite a lot of chemistry involved in many of the projects. It covers 5 fields of research and 6 labs. So the LPM laboratory is mainly focused on hard condensed matter. And there you'll find projects that are related to superconductivity and among others. At Chimie, Biologie, Innovation, you'll find projects, a project that is related to the rheology of dense suspensions. So this is a very interesting fundamental problem that exists in many soft matter processing problems in the industrial world. At Gulliver, the lab that I'm a part of, we have mainly a soft matter focus and also some hydrodynamics. So here you'll see lots of different fundamental problems on colloidal science, in particular colloidal physics, transport near interfaces, and some hydrodynamic quantum analogs. as well as active matter, which is a new and emerging field of soft condensed matter and hydrodynamics sort of all lumped in. At Institut Langevin, it's a waves institute, and so you'll find some light matter interaction projects there. It's a very nice lab just off of the main campus. Also, PMMH, Physique Mécanique des Milieux Hétérogènes, is offering projects in mechanics and fluidics. This is their real strong suit. And Plasticité du Cerveau also has some more biological projects. This is probably the more biological one of the group of 16. Yes, so that is just a short summary of the projects that you can find at the school. And as Constantino could not be here today, I would invite you to meet him virtually at the video that is posted using this link here. I know that you guys will have the slides of this presentation, so you can just follow the QR code to see what Constantino has to say about the school. Next slide, please. Yes, so as I mentioned, the ESPCI is historically a physical chemistry institute, and biology has become an integral part of the research that's done here as well. As I mentioned, we have the brain plasticity lab that has one subject proposed in neurosciences and proteomics. In chemistry, we have one project in CBI, and CBI is a nice lab. They do lots of microfluidics. They do also different pharmaceutical types of projects, and they use microfluidics quite a lot for doing, for example, directed evolution and origin of life types of studies. That's the type of lab that you have there, in addition to this colloidal project that's being offered. And the physics community at ESPCI is the major portion of the projects that you'll find offered by the school. Institut Langevin, as I mentioned, is concerned with wave physics, so you have lots of optics and acoustics being done there in different types of media, which could be classical or very disordered. Lots of brilliant scientists there. The Physics and Materials Lab is a SIM, LPM, Solid State Physics and Nanosciences. They do some really incredible fabrication. At PMMH, they have a very long history of hydrodynamics, solid mechanics, as I mentioned earlier, and also Gulliver, as I mentioned a bit at length in the previous slide. We do lots of soft matter, and if you're interested in that kind of physics, you're very welcome to consult the different projects that are available. Next slide, please. So in terms of infrastructure and some key researchers, so there was some emphasis placed on different Nobel Prizes that have been won in the different institutes, and the ASPCI, I think, in a certain sense, punches above its weight. We've had 6 since the founding of the school, including Pierre and Marie Curie, and I won't mention them all, but it goes up until De Gennes. And I mentioned De Gennes specifically because he did a lot of soft matter, and in particular has, in addition to these different infrastructures, we have a Microfluidics Institute, which bears his name. It's called the Institut Pierre de Gennes pour la microfluidique, and here we have all of the sort of microfabrication facilities that you could dream of to make different microfluidic chips and prototypes for different types of experiments that you might do in the lab. There's many different microscopes facilities throughout the school, including electron microscopes, classical optical microscopes, and even some advanced optical microscopy, including TURF, which might be involved in the project that I'm working on, but also lots of confocal microscopes and STEM and STEM and all these kinds of super resolution types of techniques, as well as lots of 3D printing in addition to the microfluidic fabrication. Next slide, please. Thank you, Marie. So just to end with a few key facts and figures, like many of the schools in the perimeter of ParisTech, we have a fairly low ratio of researchers to PhD candidates, or to say that PhD candidates that come to the school have very good supervision, because PhD advisors typically only have a couple of students, and so have lots of time to spend with their students and actively supervise them. In addition, as could be guessed by the fact that we have these Nobel Prizes, there's a lot of very high impact research happening at the school. We typically have 500 publications per year, typically in journals that are very high quality. And so the focus on excellence is very present at ESPCI, as revealed by the publication record that we have. In addition to this strong focus on fundamental research, we're also very interested as a school in technology transfer. And so we have typically 30 patents per year. And we have indeed a few startups that are typically created per year in the school. And I mentioned the Institut PhD Program, which is just next door to the main campus of USPCI, has indeed a startup incubator. And so many people working on their PhDs, typically 3 per year, may transfer that knowledge to a startup, which could be incubated directly where the research was done. In addition to these sort of newer companies that are created as a result of the research that is done here, we have long-standing historical collaborations with some of the major industrial actors in France, including Saint-Gobain, which is glass and materials, construction materials, very large company. Total Energies is a petroleum and energy company. L'Oréal, which I'm sure many of you know, is very focused on cosmetics and other things. And I won't go through the list exhaustively, but you can see here some other major companies in the country that have long-standing collaborations with the school. Once again, I mentioned the Nobel Prizes very quickly, but we also have a very strong record in European funding. These ERC grants are very prestigious and are typically only awarded to the highest quality researchers, very competitive on a European level. The CNRS Silver Medal has visited us recently, even last year, which is for excellence in research within the CNRS being a national research institute. We have young researchers being awarded, particularly women in science research awards that are for women in science through UNESCO L'Oréal. So I think that's all that we have for the school today. So thank you very much again for your attention and for the organization.
Thank you. Thank you, Joshua. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, so I did it already. So just to remind that if you have any questions, you can contact us in China. You can contact Minhua or myself, and we will be happy to help you to answer your questions and to also help you to find your personal project or the proposal that you fit with. Okay, so that's it for our first part of this section of this webinar. So the second part, you will have to join one room. So we have 4 different rooms today. So the rooms are separated by themes. So we will write the themes in the chat. So you can move and choose the room you want to go in. So this is the 4 room we have now. So the room number 1, you will find the advisors and the proposals about chemistry, physical chemistry and chemical engineering, plus the proposal about life and health science. In the room number 2, it will be information and communication science and technology, plus mathematics and the applications, plus energy processes, and plus design industrialization proposals. For the room number 3, it will be material science, mechanics and fluids proposals. And in the room number 4, physics and optics. Okay, normally you have an option on Zoom toolbar with the room section. So you can choose the room you want to go in, and you can, of course, move from one room to another. If you have any difficulties to go in the room you want, you just write it in the chat, and then we will help you to go in the room you want. Okay, so all the advisors can now go in their own room. And same, if you have any problem or if you have forgotten the room you are in, just ask us and we will help you.